Hey, good morning to you. Good afternoon. It's Mark again here, WeatherMan Plus. Hope y'all having a great day today. It is Friday, April 16th. So yay, it is the weekend, guys. I have some good updates as far as the first Arctic blast as well as the second one that is still coming. Plus an update on the sulfur dioxide that is coming into parts of our country, guys. And I'll show that so far southern Florida really has a problem with this coming, as well as the Caribbean and Jamaica. Now, as far as the levels, I still need to investigate that, and I will update that on Sunday when I come back. Y'all know I take my Sabbath Friday afternoons through Saturday afternoons, so God bless every single one of you. Hope you have a very blessed and a very great Friday and Saturday. Plus, I got a big update on that tropical cyclone Serigae. Even though your guidance shows you that you will be okay and it's going to turn, I have different information for you that could be a possibility that you need to know about. So if you've never been here before, hello, my name is Mark. I do upload every single day except Friday afternoon into Saturday afternoon. But I do put links in the description to save you time. So hit the subscribe button, hit that bell, guys, and share this video. Let people know about these two Arctic blasts, that it is still coming. Two videos I have for y'all today. On the top left, you'll see the temperature anomaly. It'll show you the difference between the temperature change as this cold air does come in. And when you see the green, that's like 10 to 15 degrees colder. And when you see that dark blue, that's more like 20 plus degrees colder. Then when you see that purple coming in there, that's up to 30 plus degrees difference. As well as a video right above my head on the bottom left. It does show you your temperature anomaly as this Arctic blast does come in. And towards the end of that video, it's only a 9-day video. I didn't want to do past that. We do need updates to make sure we're correct on this. But you will see the next Arctic blast come into our country with cold temperatures as well. So remember, the links are in the descriptions to save you time, so go to whatever you need to see. This right here is your 500 millibar for your temperature, so you can see what's going on. And this purple and this blue is very cold air. Matter of fact, we're going to have some cold temperatures, possibly below freezing for Texas before this even comes. So we'll go through that. But as this one comes in towards the 19th and stretches into our country, it does bring a lot of cold air. And by the time you get up to the 20th, you see that it starts reaching to its furthest south. And I do show there's a possibility for freezing temperatures deep south, so y'all need to be aware of that. I will go through, of course, what I do have. By the 21st is at its deepest point into our country as far as the south goes, and then it'll swing to the northeast by the 22nd and 23rd, which it'll actually get a little bit colder for you guys. Now after that, it pretty much tilts around for a while before it does that second Arctic blast. So there is a possibility for y'all to stay in freezing temperatures in between these two blasts. I will update that again on Sunday. Now this is your AO, your Arctic Oscillation. It shows you where your cold air is coming in from the North Pole and how deep into our country it can get. And you can see as you get from the 21st towards the 25th is where it does a first good little cold air anomaly comes in, but then it does another deepness all the way to the 27th or 28th. Then it goes towards a neutral phase, and it goes pretty quickly. Then after that, we have our second blast that's going to come in towards the end of the month, the beginning of May. And now it's showing down to a -3. So now it's showing even further into our countries. Yesterday, it was close to a -3, in between 2 and 3. Today, it's actually on a 3. So it is showing more and more. So as we can look a little more detail as far as the days on the GFS model, you do see that it does have a good chance for the 21st of April to come down into our country with a good little dip of a 1. And then by the 24th, after it goes by the south and it goes to the northeast, it will have another dip all the way to about the 26th or 27th before it goes to a neutral and a positive phase. And to get as much information as we can, of course, on the CMC model, it also shows that around the 21st, you will have a dip of cold air with an even more dip all the way to the 26th or 27th. You can see that big one here. But it also shows around May 1st that we also going to have another dip of cold air. And if you go to the Euro model and check the extended ensemble, you can see real good up close of what's going to go on according to the Euro. And it also shows that by the 22nd or 23rd, there will be a dip of cold air all the way to the 27th or the 29th with a second dip. So there will be a second dip that is trending, and it is coming, so that's for sure. And if you've never been here before, there's your teleconnections. This lets you know when you have a potential velocity anomaly that's coming anywhere into anybody's country. And for the central to east coast for USA, it's a 60W. When you want to get to the Pacific side, it's more like the 120. And you still see that we just had that anomaly in the northeast. It's still going through till this weekend. But now we still have this real big one that is still coming. Now it's in between the 26th of April all the way to still May 1st. So we still have a storm that will come into our system, a strong surface low pressure, while at the same time we will have this second blast of Arctic air coming. So the first blast will come in, and it's going to get the tail end of this, and it might put some snow in the Ohio Valley and the intercoastal states for the Northeast. But when that second blast comes in, that's when it's going to get its deepest and the strongest point. Also, would like to point out that towards the end of the anomaly, if you notice, is at its strongest point towards the end of the month and beginning of the month. So that it won't be strongest in the end. It's going to build up to a very strong surface low pressure. And I really want to narrow this one down, guys, because this one has the potential to be not really a big problem to a very severe problem. If you look according to the NAO on the GFS, and if you've never been here before, the NAO is your North Atlantic Oscillation. It lets you know if whether you have a high ridge or a low trough on the right side of your jet stream, the east coast of the country. It lets you know whether the storm is going to be on a high ridge to where it's going to be a problem for the Midwest to the Northeast, or whether it's going to be on a low trough where it's going to be a Southeast problem to a Mid-Atlantic problem. And I'm still showing that if it's going to come after the first, that's going to be a different outcome if before the first. Okay, according to the GFS, the NAO will start going from a positive phase to a neutral phase right around the 26th to 27th, all the way to the 30th. So that means it won't be that bad, and it'll still be somewhere around the central U.S. to the mid-Atlantic towards the northeast. But if it comes after the 30th and it comes more like in the beginning of May, then we have a very sharp, deep trough that is going to happen all the way to past a -2 on our NAO. That will bring it definitely into Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama. That would bring the jet stream very low. And that means that that storm will be very strong in the southeast of our country. And that will bring severe storms, if not bring this cold air even further down to the south. So as we look a little bit deeper into the detail of the GFS as far as the NAO goes, you can see that as we get into the 22nd, it does a little bump on the downwards of the jet stream. It stays mostly around the center of the U.S. But as you get around the 24th to the 26th, it does a nice good dip. Now that would bring it all the way down by Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, northern Texas. Not really too far down, but just to the edge. Then it goes back up to a neutral to a positive phase. So if the velocity potential, the possible low pressure system, not talking about the cold air yet, and it does happen in the early 20s of April, like 22 through 23, even 24, that it will go slightly into a negative phase where it'll be a deeper trough, where it'll go lower into our country. But if it happens anywhere from the 26th to the end of the month, it's going to go towards a neutral to a positive phase, and that would put it in the Midwest to the Northeast. So it's very important on when this velocity is coming. If it's coming earlier, it's going to be a central U.S. to the Southeast problem, even possibly a Mid-Atlantic. If it comes after the 26th, it's going to be a Northeast problem and still possibly the Mid-Atlantic. With another possibility from the Euro, and if you look at it extended, you can see up close real good, and you can see that right around the 23rd, 24th, it does go into a trough, and it goes an even deeper trough all the way to the 29th. That would definitely bring it to the southeast of our U.S. But if it comes at the beginning of May, look at this. You have a very sharp high ridge that's going to happen all the way to from a negative, almost a -2, all the way to the other side of a 2. So that is going to be a very high jump, a very sharp ridge, and that's actually what's going to pull this cold air out from messing up the deep south into the 20-degree temperatures. It's really going to save the deep south as far as this ridge. This ridge is going to do more than you know, and I will show you what I mean. But if this would show true as far as the velocity potential shows, it would show just like it showed the other day that this will form up somewhere around Oklahoma, Arkansas, and go to a high ridge to the northeast. I will update you. And remember, towards the end of April, towards the beginning of May, GFS is still showing that second Arctic blast that's coming down into our country, and it's still going past the -3. It's literally on the edge, almost past it. And if you get into more detail on that one, you look at the extended model of the GFS, and you actually can see that actually in the beginning of May, that it could go all the way down into a negative phase, and it'll get all the way down to a -2 and past the -2 by May 12th. So there could be a second dip on that second Arctic blast as well. And it could go all the way to the 15th or the 17th of May. And that second blast would be after this velocity potential. This velocity potential is going to be for this first Arctic blast that we're about to go through now. And I don't want to mention it because it is starting to ramp up, guys. But if you look down here in the side, because you only see so far, you can see another velocity potential popping up for the east coast of the U.S. And this is kind of wide. That could be a strong off the bat. Look at that dark blue. That's almost comparison. I do believe we might have another problem with the second Arctic blast. Or maybe even hurricane season starting by May 2nd. I will update you on that. And with this first Arctic blast, you actually might have some snow that comes down for the Ohio Valley and the intercoastal Northeast. This is on the 18th. You can see we started getting the Arctic blast coming in. We get a little storm system in the Midwest. It will put some snow in the Midwest. But as it comes in even deeper, you'll see that another low surface low pressure builds up right over the Ohio Valley. It starts sucking down all this cold air while it's bringing up precipitation and turning this into snowfall. So far, starting off in Indiana. And then it will push to the northeast. It will put some snowfall for Ohio and intercoastal Pennsylvania, also West Virginia, also for the intercoastal for western New York as well. So it will be intercoastal and maybe even later spreading out. It's getting a little too far. It's already 21st. And you know how this will change very quickly. But it's already showing that it still could be some more snow for northern New York as it goes towards western Massachusetts, Vermont, and then northern Maine as it slips by. So all the way till the 21st, as far as your precipitation goes, you do have heavy rainfall for southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, moderate for southern Alabama and the Panhandle of Florida. But you do have a heavy spot in Florida all the way from the central to the northern. And you have, of course, in the northeast, you have precipitation which turn into snowfall. And you have this precipitation right here over Kansas and Missouri that actually has a good chance of being snowfall, as well as this track of rain right here. And so far, Florida, total accumulation between Friday, April 16th and Wednesday, April 21st, that Orlando shows that a little bit north of Orlando has a good chance of getting a little over 4 inches of rainfall. So you need to watch out for heavy rainfall right there. But all the way from Gainesville to all the way to Palms Bay even has a hot spot, but southern Orlando to Gainesville has a chance for 2 inches of rain. A little bit less towards Tampa and Sarasota. But also by the 21st, we do have a chance for more snowfall, not only for the higher elevations. This right here is the snow that you are getting now. But you see this track right here. This is a track of fresh snow. This will be all the way from Kansas, northern Texas, Oklahoma, northern Arkansas a little bit, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, southeast Michigan. Maybe Detroit can get in on that. I will check that. Western Pennsylvania. Real heavy snow possibility for western New York and northern New York as it goes into Canada. Canada's going to get a lot of heavy snow as well. That's over a foot right there. And I did check Texas. It's right above Amarillo, a couple of inches. Childress might get, half an inch, a little bit. But there's going to be some localized spots of a couple inches in between Dalhart and O'Malley. Now, you won't be quite freezing, but first you have this cold air that is coming through. And northern Texas, you will be in the high 30s to central Texas in the 40s. This is for Saturday. And by Sunday, you will also be in the high 30s to the center of the Texas being in the 40s, as well as everybody else in the south pretty much, just in the 40s. But it will warm right back up as soon as the sun comes up. Now, this is the 500 millibar temperature anomaly, but we're going to look kind of close so we can see exactly what it's covering on the U.S. And you can see that by Tuesday on the 20th is when it starts stretching in to the Midwest. And at the 850 millibar level, you can see how it stretches all the way down to northern Texas. Now, this purple right here, this is actually freezing temperatures on our 2-meter level. But it does stretch all the way to the Michigan, all the way to Texas, all the way to Montana. With the actual temperatures on the ground being right at freezing or a little bit above in northern Texas. And you have it for the mountains and the Midwest, as well as Montana, the Dakotas, all below freezing, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, all below freezing. But it is bringing some pretty serious wind chills. So if you're not below freezing temperatures, it's definitely going to feel below freezing temperatures. Northern Texas, you're going to feel like you're in the 20s, if not 20 degrees. And then the rest of the U.S. that's getting affected at this point is either in the 20s or even the teens for Nebraska and Kansas. So that's pretty cold feeling right there. That's a lot of cold wind chill. And just to get another look to make sure we have all the accurate information as we possibly can, I looked at the Canadian model, the GEM model. And on Wednesday on the 21st, it is confirming that is the deepest that the cold air will come. It's showing that northern Texas could be definitely in the 20-degree temperatures. So that's well below freezing, with central Texas being close to freezing temperatures. You'd be in the high 30s. And it does carry on towards Arkansas, Tennessee. Northern Mississippi is in the 40s. You're in the 20s for Oklahoma. You're in the 20s for everybody else. 20 degrees. teen temperatures for Nebraska and up. Still rolling through with the GFS by the 21st. It does roll as deepest that it does go in the south so far. Now, this is the first Arctic blast. And at your 850 millibar level, you can see how it stretches all the way out now. It goes well over Texas. It goes well over the Ohio Valley. This purple is freezing temperatures. And it does get into the deep south. Now, your actual 2 meters on the ground temperatures has a lot of people, especially the Ohio Valley and the Midwest, in freezing temperatures. But now you're in the deep south in the high 30s. Texas in the high 30s, Tennessee, everybody's in the high 30s except for the East Coast. But with the wind chill, if you're not freezing, it's definitely going to make you feel like you're in freezing temperatures. Northern Mississippi is going to feel like 31, 30 degrees, 29, 26 degrees for Alabama. Northern Texas, 27 to 30 degrees. This is all wind chill. You're going to be feeling like you're in 20-degree temperatures in the whole area. And the Canadian model does show that these temperatures do come in. Starting on Monday, which is the 19th, you can see the freezing temperatures move on in, and in Texas we'll have another freezing, being in 29, 30-degree temperatures all across it, especially all above it. It's all in the 30s and freezing. Then as you go into the 21st, it starts getting freezing again. It gets down to 26, 27 degrees, 24 degrees for northern Texas, while it gets into central Texas in the 30s. The Canadian model really shows that this is going to be a lot of good cold air that's going to be passing through. Then as it passes through for Thursday for the 22nd, it does get into northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and the central U.S. now with 30-degree temperatures. And now you're kind of okay in the high 30s to the 40s. But it will bounce around some freezing temperatures. But once again, it will warm up also as the daytime comes by. And for the deep south, starting on Wednesday, the 21st, according to the Canadian model, it does show that you do have some cold air that will be coming into your country. As far as freezing, now it all depends on where you at in the deep south and if the Canadian model is correct over the GFS. But according to the Canadian model, there is a possibility for certain parts of northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and northern Georgia to be in freezing temperatures once again. And this is by Thursday, April 22nd. But just to give you all the information I can give you, the GFS is showing that this actually will be Wednesday on the 21st for the deepest. So the 21st and 22nd will be the coldest temperatures for the central south and the deep south. It puts Texas in high 30s, as well as Oklahoma, Arkansas, even Louisiana gets into the high 30s in certain portions. It has northern Mississippi into 35 degrees, which is still above freezing, as well as northern Alabama will be in the high 30s, and northern Georgia will be in the high 30s, with certain isolated spots possibly at 34 degrees. But this is as low as it's going to go. Southern Louisiana is going to be in the 40s. And I tell you, with all that humidity and that cold air, that really feels cold on your bones. With the wind chill being the worst on the 21st, according to the GFS, putting you feeling like you're in the high 20s for northern Texas, putting you feeling like you're in the 30s for Louisiana, 30 to less for northern Mississippi and Alabama. It could feel like it's in the 20s, high 20s, but it's a very cold wind chill. So pretty much the wind chill will be anywhere from 29 to 30 degrees or a little higher as you go further down in Mississippi. Alabama, you're going to feel like you're going to be 27 to 29 degrees, and northern Georgia also going to feel like you're 30, 31 degrees. That's going to be a cold wind chill that will be looping through. But at the same time, it will be fast because your warm-up daytime temperatures the day before on Tuesday is well into the 60s and 70s. And after the cold air anomaly comes by, you're going to warm right back up into the 50s and 60s. So it won't last, guys. It's just 1 to 2 days. And then the last part of the dip on Thursday, the 22nd, is going to be affecting the Northeast at this point. This is the last bit of the cold air that is coming through. The high ridge pulls it up. So that's a good thing for the Southeast. It won't be affecting them on the first Arctic blast. The second one I'm showing is going to be the problem you need to worry about. But as far as Northeast, I know they're sick of seeing all this snow, mostly. And as it swings by, everybody else is going to be now into either the high 30s to the 40s in the South, while the Northeast will be freezing to below freezing temperatures. And it'll be freezing for Michigan, freezing for Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, also Massachusetts, Connecticut, also Rhode Island. You'll be right on the edge. New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, you're all going to be in freezing temperatures. While at the same time, New Jersey, you'll be freezing in the north, not freezing in the south. It's going to be right on the edge. And with the wind chills, it's still going to feel like you're somewhat 30 something degrees in the south. It won't be 30 something degrees. It'll be high 30s to low 40s. But the wind chill is going to make it feel you're still in 30s. While the northeast now is getting teen temperature feelings from the wind chill. Pretty much everybody at this point is feeling this cold air. Whether you're using freezing temperatures or not, just like New Jersey, you're going to feel like you're in the high 20s. This wind chill is going to put a lot of people in the teens, a lot of people in the 20s type of temperature feeling outside. And the Canadian model is confirming the same thing as the GFS at this point. It's showing a lot of people will be in the 20s to high 20s temperatures with freezing temperatures barely on the edge for New Jersey and everybody else for Connecticut and Massachusetts. So they're pretty much the same as far as the Northeast goes. The only thing that was different was the Southeast. It was just a few degrees difference, but that few degrees will either frost your crops and kill it or not. Plus, we have that second Arctic blast that's coming towards the end of April, mostly the beginning of May, and it's going to be worse than this one here. This one's going down to almost a -2. It's in between the two, but you see how far down it's going in our country. Look how much further this one's going. So that means that Arctic cold air is going to come even further and affect everybody that barely got affected at this level of cold. It could be a problem. As well as our sulfur dioxide from all the volcanoes that had that big plume all the way from Venezuela to the UK. It actually shows that it's going to be a problem now for possibility Florida. It is showing that Jamaica could get the whole bulk of it, run right over it. At the same time, it shows this high pressure moves north and allows this low pressure system to move to the southeast. So instead of bringing it into the Gulf of Mexico, it actually curves and brings it towards Florida. And you can see it come in. It comes in towards Saturday evening, right over Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. It's over Puerto Rico, not the strongest part, but it is. And by the time you get into Sunday evening, it goes right over Jamaica. This is right around Sunday, right around 6 p.m. Jamaica, and it's putting you at pretty good levels. I got to look this up and see exactly what danger this will cause you, but I do see anywhere from 80 to 90 to mostly over 100 on your levels. So I will check that out for you and give you an update on Sunday morning. Plus, you can still see the sulfur dioxide coming to our atmosphere from Mexico City from that volcano. It is still erupting as the days come along. It's expected to keep on going. It's on an ongoing situation. So if you look into it, that's what it says pretty much. It's just ongoing. It's just erupting and ongoing. At the same time, as this passes by Jamaica on Sunday evening into Monday, now it goes towards the Bahamas. It goes towards the southern tip of Florida. And it actually could grow more into Florida. If you notice, this low pressure system moves to the north, which is a good thing. It kind of helps block it. It's bad for the Bahamas, but it's good for Florida because it actually moves over. It becomes upper level low and becomes a surface low pressure again over here in the southeast. So with that counterclockwise, it actually pulls it to the east and wraps it. And I believe this is going to go back out to the ocean instead of wrapping around to our country because the low pressure is going to move as well. But at the same time, you can see it come into the Bahamas. It's coming to a lot of people. Further shot that we have is Sunday evening into Monday morning. It starts moving towards Florida, towards the Bahamas. And it starts bringing in its sulfur dioxide in the air, guys. As well as Tropical Cyclone Serigae. I'm showing it has a chance to strengthen now. Matter of fact, last night it did some rapid intensification. And it shows that by the 18th, it will get up to 140 miles per hour. Then it will still go down drastically to 130, 115 by the 21st, 105. So it will go down quickly, but it did show that it will do some strengthening before that actually happens. The one problem that I have with that, it is actually showing that your track will turn and be okay. When I'm showing a little bit of different information, I'm showing that there's going to be a bobble before it leaves. And that bobble could be worse than just a little bit and go out. Now you can see a little bit closer, you can see that the rain bands, all the wind is starting to come in and affect the Philippines. At the same time, you can see all this busting going on. This is intensification. This is strengthening. This is a sign of strengthening. All this explosions going on in the atmosphere. This is a lot of thunderstorms, a lot building up. It is strengthening at this point. And here's a look at what could come. By Sunday, according to the GFS, that it could come into your country and it will do somewhat a bounce, but this is here's your wind gust, and it will come in and do another bounce, go in a little bit, do a bounce, and then it'll leave. That's according to the GFS. And I know that your model that y'all see is showing y'all that it will be okay and actually go away. I'm showing that some intensification is happening. doing a lot of strengthening in that storm that I just showed you. I think this has a chance to go across. Matter of fact, the Euro model is showing that as you go into Saturday, it's all the way down to 940. And then as you go into Sunday, it actually will come in and do some damage for y'all. All these winds you're seeing is 100 miles per hour winds. This is very, very fast, very damaging, very dangerous winds that you'll be dealing with. But it will start to come into parts of the Philippines at this point. By Monday morning, it's doing a little bit. It's doing that little divot that you saw the GFS doing. But instead of leaving, the Euro shows actually by Monday evening into Tuesday that it will come into to the Philippines. It will cross over and become a problem before it leaves out. But just to give you every possibility of what's going on, that's one thing I love to do, is to show you what other possibilities there could be. Is that this is what your full run could look like according to the Euro model. Instead of hitting a little double bounce and leaving, it could actually get sucked in and go across the Philippines before leaving. So it could be a problem for you guys. As well as your pollen count for today. The greens are low with the dark green to medium low. The yellow is medium, the orange is medium high, and the red is high. This is all your areas that's going to have medium high to high pollen counts that you need to worry about today, especially the Carolinas. Both of y'all are just stuck in high pollen counts. Ohio Valley has high pollen counts all the way to the northeast to New Jersey has high pollen counts. So you need to be aware that this will be out there today, especially if you have a lot of allergies. Midwest has some high pollen counts as well. I'm in Milwaukee, so I'm still in the red. And it's probably going to be like that all weekend long. Southwest, you're still having high pollen counts. And now I'm showing it's getting into Nevada and Idaho as well for getting high pollen counts. That wasn't there yesterday. If you want to check this out for tomorrow, because I will be off tomorrow, just go to pollen.com. Now that's the update, guys. I hope that y'all really enjoyed the update. And going into my Sabbath this afternoon into tomorrow is actually my best day of the week. I really enjoy the peace. God does give you peace when you do honor him. It is a true thing. God bless every single one of you. And to the new people to the channel, I do this almost every Friday. That way it can remind the new people here to give praise to thanks to Jesus. Amen. So I'm going to give praise to God, guys, as usual, every single day. Amen. We should also do it every single day. So thankful for waking up today. Thank you, God. God bless Jesus. Thank you for Jesus. Without him, we'd be lost. Amen. And I'm going to put my best video clip that I love to put up there. That's for the newcomers that never seen it. God bless you all. May you have a very blessed and a very good Shabbos. Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore will not we fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof. Selah. There is a river, the streams whereof shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her, and that right early. The heathen raged. The kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice. The earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Come, behold the works of the Lord. What desolations he hath made in the earth. He maketh wars to cease unto the end of the earth. He breaketh the bow, and cutteth the spear in sunder. He burneth the chariot in the fire. Be still, and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. God bless you all today. May you have a very blessed, a very, very peaceful Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I wish it all on you the most. Please share and help other people be alerted to these temperatures that are coming, as well as this potential storm that will be coming soon that I will update you guys on. All glory does go to God.